Honorable Speaker, Fiji has in place a comprehensive and structured contingency evacuation framework for our citizens in the Middle East, including our peacekeepers serving under UNDOF, UNIFIL, UNTSO, and also the multinational forces and observers in the Sinai. This framework is led by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in close coordination with our missions in Jerusalem, Abu Dhabi, and in New York, and supported by our international partners. It is built around a threat-based system where escalation to a high-risk environment such as armed conflict triggers immediate evacuation planning and execution with pre-identified routes through neighboring countries and available international air corridor. Mr. Speaker, this planning is detailed and operational. Evacuation decisions are guided by clearly defined indicators, including sustained missile or drone attacks, the closure of major infrastructure such as Ben Gurion International Airport, disruption to essential services, or formal advisories from host governments and international partners. These indicators are monitored continuously by our missions on the ground, ensuring that decisions are based on real-time assessments rather than on speculation. Our approach is deliberately flexible. Depending on conditions, evacuation may proceed by air, where airspace remains open, or by land through Jordan or Egypt, where this presents a safer option. In more constrained scenarios, maritime routes are also considered, Honorable Speaker. The choice of route is not fixed, but is determined by the evolving security environment, access to transit corridors, and the safety of our nationals at any given time. Mr. Speaker, the system operates through a phased approach. In the preparedness phase, our missions maintain up-to-date registers of Fijian nationals and provide guidance to ensure readiness. This moves to a standby posture as risk escalates, with citizens advised to remain close to safe areas and evacuation corridors. When conditions warrant, a formal execution order is issued and movement is conducted in a controlled and accountable manner, ensuring that all Fijians are tracked and supported throughout the process. In terms of scale, Fiji currently has approximately 682 nationals across the Middle East region, including more than 300 peacekeepers deployed in operational theaters, as in Syria and the Golan Heights and in the Sinai. Our peacekeepers operate within established United Nations Forces protection and evacuation frameworks, which are further supported by Fiji's own national contingency planning to ensure that their safety remains paramount. Mr. Speaker, sir, our planning is strengthened through close cooperation with partners such as Australia, New Zealand, and the United States, and also the United Kingdom. These relationships allow for coordinated evacuation efforts, shared access to transport assets, and alignment of response measures. At the same time, our embassies maintain constant communication with our diaspora, operate continuous monitoring of the situation, and coordinate directly with host governments and international agencies to ensure that evacuation can be executed when required. I must also emphasize that evacuation operations are inherently dependent on conditions beyond our control, including the status of borders, airspace, and the border security environment. While we plan for all contingencies, there may be situations where movement must be staged or where individuals are required to relocate to safe areas prior to onward evacuation. These realities are factored into our planning to ensure that even under constraint, the safety of our people remain the central consideration. Mr. Speaker, sir, Fiji's approach is deliberate and grounded. We have a structured system we have the partnerships, and we have the operational readiness to act when required. Above all, the safety and the welfare of Fijians abroad, including those serving in uniform, remains our highest priority. I thank you, Honourable Speaker.